The alien academy towered above the rocky plains of Zyran 9, its spires piercing the violet sky like ancient spears. It was a marvel of engineering, its seamless blend of organic and synthetic materials reflecting the advanced civilizations that had built it. Within its halls, hundreds of students from across the galaxy gathered, their varied forms and languages creating a symphony of diversity. Among them, a small group of humans stood out, not for their achievements, but for their perceived inadequacies. Nia adjusted the strap of her backpack, her eyes scanning the other students who filled the grand atrium. She could feel their gazes, subtle but cutting, as if they were dissecting her worth. "They really don't think much of us, do they?" she muttered, her voice low, but laced with determination. "Why would they?" Alex replied, leaning against a nearby column. He was the group's technician, a lanky man with grease-streaked fingers and a sharp wit. "With the newcomers here, half these species have been spacefaring for millennia. Us, a couple of centuries tops. Doesn't exactly scream top of the class." "Well, they're in for a surprise," May interjected, her tone calm but resolute. As a psychologist, she often acted as the group's anchor, her insights into behavior a crucial asset. Her gaze moved over the alien students. "Arrogance blinds them. That'll be their weakness." Beside her, Carter remained silent, his posture rigid. The former soldier had joined the academy as part of a cultural exchange, his military background granting him an edge in strategy and resilience. His silence wasn't disinterest, it was calculation. Every detail of their surroundings seemed to register in his sharp blue eyes. A melodic chime echoed through the atrium, silencing the murmurs. A tall, insectoid instructor clicked their mandibles, their voice resonating in perfect translation through the Academy's universal communication system. "Attention, students. Your next examination will commence shortly. Please proceed to the designated chambers." Nia exchanged a glance with her teammates. They knew this exam wasn't just another test. Every challenge at the Academy was designed to measure not only intelligence but also adaptability and survival instincts. For the humans, this was more than a test. It was a chance to prove themselves. The exam chamber was a circular room made of a sleek, metallic alloy that shimmered faintly under the artificial light. As the group entered, the door sealed behind them with an ominous hiss. Around them, alien students were already strategizing in small clusters, their confidence palpable. The room hummed with latent energy, and the air seemed charged with anticipation. "Look at them," Alex murmured, nodding toward a trio of reptilian students who were busy calibrating a device that looked more like a weapon than a tool. "They've probably already cracked half the puzzles in here." "Let them," Carter said, his voice steady. "Their overconfidence will trip them up." May crouched near one of the room's walls, her fingers tracing faint patterns etched into the surface. "This isn't just about solving puzzles. It's about how we approach them. The Academy's always testing more than it lets on." Nia took a deep breath, forcing herself to focus. The room's challenges were hidden, scattered across its surfaces and embedded in its mechanisms. The humans would have to rely on their unique blend of skills to uncover and overcome them. As she observed the alien students, she noticed a pattern in their behavior. Each species seemed to rely solely on the traits they were known for. The reptilians used their brute strength, smashing through obstacles. The avian species relied on their advanced sensory perception. But there was little collaboration, no cross-species teamwork. It was both their strength and their weakness. A sudden shift in the room's lighting signaled the start of the exam. Panels slid open, revealing a series of intricate challenges. A locked console emitting bursts of alien code, a gravity-defying maze that required precise navigation, and a series of shifting tiles that seemed to form an incomplete equation. The alien students leapt into action, each group tackling a separate challenge. "Let's start with the console," Alex suggested, already moving toward it. "That's my territory. Go for it," Nia said, glancing at the maze. "I'll see if I can figure out that gravity thing." "May, Carter, can you handle the tiles?" Carter nodded, his expression unreadable. May smiled faintly. "We got this." As Alex worked, his hands flew over the alien interface. The console was unlike anything he'd seen, but he approached it with the same methodical mindset he'd used to fix Earth's ancient space shuttles. "This isn't about knowing the system," he muttered. "It's about understanding its logic." Meanwhile, Nia studied the maze. Its pathways shifted unpredictably, forcing her to adapt on the fly. She crouched low, her movements fluid as she tested the maze's reactions to different stimuli. Every wrong move sent a ripple through the room, drawing the attention of nearby alien students who sneered or chuckled at her apparent struggles. May and Carter faced their own challenge. The shifting tiles required not just mathematical precision, but also an understanding of alien symbolism. As May deciphered the patterns, Carter used his sharp instincts to predict the tiles' movements, allowing them to align in ways that seemed almost intuitive. As the humans worked, the room's atmosphere grew tense. Alien students began encountering difficulties, their species-specific approaches proving less effective than expected. The humans, however, steadily made progress. They didn't rush or panic. They adapted, combining their skills in ways the others hadn't anticipated. By the time Alex cracked the console's code, the reptilian group nearby was still struggling with a physical barrier they'd attempted to break through by force. Nia's careful navigation of the maze led her to a hidden switch that revealed an additional challenge, one the alien students hadn't even noticed. May and Carter's combined efforts completed the tiles, unlocking a pathway that connected the human solutions to the broader room's layout. The alien students began to notice. Whispers filled the air, some laced with disbelief, others with reluctant respect. The humans, once dismissed as underdogs, were proving to be far more resourceful than anyone had expected. As the humans regrouped, their successes lit a spark of determination within them. They weren't just surviving, they were thriving. Yet, as the room's challenges intensified, they knew the hardest part was still to come. For the first time, Nia allowed herself a small smile. Let's show them what humans can really do. The room's challenges grew more intricate with every passing moment, as though the chamber itself was responding to the students' progress. Walls shifted, mechanisms emerged from hidden panels, and the very floor seemed to pulse with an energy that threatened to destabilize everything within. Nia felt a flicker of unease as she glanced at the alien groups. Their confidence from earlier was beginning to wane. Some whispered heatedly, while others clung stubbornly to their rigid strategies, unwilling to adapt. Humans, however, thrived on uncertainty. "We need to focus," May said, her voice calm but firm. She knelt by a newly revealed apparatus, its glowing symbols pulsing in a sequence that seemed both random and deliberate. "This is psychological," she added, brushing her fingers across the smooth, cool surface. "It's designed to frustrate and mislead." Alex crouched beside her, his brow furrowed as he analyzed the shifting lights. "If it's trying to mess with our heads, that means it's predictable in some way. Patterns always exist, even in chaos. Let me take a look." While Alex worked alongside May, Nia, and Carter surveyed the rest of the room. Another set of challenges had emerged, one of which was a towering structure with moving platforms that floated precariously in zero gravity. Alien students were already attempting it, their movements graceful but hesitant. A tall, avian student attempted a leap from one platform to the next, only to miscalculate and plummet to the bottom. The thud was softened by the anti-grav field, but the failure clearly stung. "Think we can do better?" Carter asked, a faint smirk playing at the edges of his lips. "We can't afford not to," Nia replied. "I'll handle the climbing. You figure out the mechanism controlling those platforms." As Carter approached the base of the structure, his sharp eyes immediately caught the telltale shimmer of a concealed control panel. While Nia began her ascent, using her lithe frame to navigate the treacherous floating platforms, Carter analyzed the controls. The interface was alien, but its logic wasn't. He traced its power conduits, deciphering their functions like unraveling a puzzle. "Platform stability is linked to user input," Carter called out, his voice calm despite the high stakes. "Every time someone moves, the system recalibrates. If you can predict the recalibration pattern, you'll have a window to move." "Got it," Nia shouted back, her voice strained as she leapt to the next platform. Her heart pounded as the anti-gravity field shifted unexpectedly, pulling her off balance. But she adapted, using the momentum to swing herself onto a higher ledge. Below her, alien students watched, their initial derision replaced by grudging respect. Meanwhile, Alex and May were making headway on their puzzle. Alex's mechanical expertise allowed him to recognize redundancies in the system, while May's psychological insights uncovered the purpose behind its deceptive design. Together, they dismantled the trap's intent to confuse and reassembled its true sequence. When the apparatus finally unlocked, emitting a soft chime of success, they exchanged a quick, satisfied nod. "Next challenge?" Alex asked, already scanning the room for their next task. "Wait," May said, tilting her head toward a nearby group of reptilian students. They were struggling with a challenge involving precise manipulation of energy conduits, their brute force approach yielding no results. "We could help them." "Why?" Alex asked, frowning. "They've been dismissing us since day one." "Because it's the right thing to do," May replied. "And because showing compassion might teach them something more important than how to win." Alex hesitated, then sighed. "Fine, but if they spit acid or something, that's on you." As May approached the reptilians, Nia reached the top of the towering structure. The final platform held a small, glowing sphere that pulsed in rhythm with the chamber's energy. Carefully, she retrieved it, holding her breath as the platforms below shifted wildly in response. Carter stabilized the mechanism just in time, allowing her to descend safely. The room seemed to react to their combined progress. The walls shuddered, and a massive panel slid open, revealing what could only be described as the final challenge. It was a massive, intricate construct of gears, conduits, and shifting energy fields, its complexity far surpassing anything they'd faced so far. Alien students hesitated, their confidence shaken by the earlier tests. For the humans, it was a moment of both trepidation and opportunity. "This is it," Nia said, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "We've come this far. Let's finish it." The team approached the construct, their movements synchronized by an unspoken understanding. Carter took point, analyzing the construct's structure for weaknesses. "This thing's designed to test everything: logic, coordination, even endurance. We're going to need to hit it from all angles." "I'll handle the conduits," Alex said, already examining the intricate web of cables and energy nodes. "Carter and I can manage the structural elements," Nia added. "May, you're on observation. If there's a psychological component, we'll need you to catch it." The team worked with precision, each member drawing on their unique skills to tackle different aspects of the challenge. Nia's agility allowed her to navigate the construct's shifting platforms, while Carter used his military training to identify and exploit structural patterns. Alex's technical expertise proved invaluable in bypassing the construct's energy defenses, and May's keen eye for detail uncovered subtle traps designed to derail their progress. As they worked, the alien students watched. Some had given up entirely, their pride too wounded to continue. Others observed with a mix of awe and envy, their preconceived notions about humans crumbling with every success. The construct fought back, its systems adapting to their efforts with increasing complexity. Sweat dripped from Alex's brow as he rerouted a particularly stubborn energy flow. Nia's muscles burned as she hauled herself onto a platform that tilted dangerously beneath her weight. Carter barked commands, his voice steady and authoritative, while May's observations provided the critical edge they needed to outthink the construct's traps. Finally, with a resounding click and a surge of light, the construct powered down. The room fell silent, the hum of energy dissipating as the humans stepped back, breathing heavily but triumphant. They'd done it. As the last remnants of the challenge faded, the chamber's energy shifted once more. The walls shimmered, revealing a hidden compartment that held a small, glowing emblem. It was a symbol of achievement, a token awarded only to those who surpassed the Academy's highest expectations. Nia reached for it, her fingers brushing against the cool surface. As she held it aloft, the alien students stared, their disbelief palpable. For a moment, no one spoke. Then, one of the avian students began to clap, their sharp, melodic applause breaking the silence. Slowly, others joined in, their expressions ranging from reluctant acknowledgement to genuine admiration. The humans had not only passed the test, they had earned something far greater: respect. But as they exchanged weary smiles, they knew their journey wasn't over. The emblem in Nia's hand was a victory, but it was also a reminder of the challenges yet to come. The chamber began to shift again, its smooth walls rippling as if alive. The air grew thick with anticipation, an almost palpable pressure building in the room. Nia tightened her grip on the glowing emblem, its warmth a small comfort against the rising tension. The humans had proven themselves so far, but they all sensed that the final test was yet to come. Without warning, the room plunged into darkness. For a few breathless moments, silence reigned, broken only by the faint hum of the chamber's machinery. Then, a deep, resonant voice filled the space, transmitted directly into their minds. "You have done well to reach this point," it said, its tone neither congratulatory nor condemning. "But the true measure of your worth lies not in individual success, but in your ability to overcome together. The final challenge begins now." A series of lights flared to life, illuminating the chamber's new configuration. At its center stood a massive, crystalline structure, its surface shimmering with chaotic energy. Around it, smaller devices spun and whirred, each projecting beams of light that converged on the crystal. The air was charged with static, and a faint tremor ran through the floor. Carter stepped forward, his jaw clenched as he studied the construct. "It's unstable," he said. "If we don't deactivate it, this whole place could go up." May's eyes darted across the room, noting the placement of the smaller devices. "Those are feeding into it," she said, pointing. "We need to disable them first. But this isn't just a puzzle. It's designed to force collaboration. Look." She gestured toward the alien students, who were already assessing the situation. They moved hesitantly, their earlier confidence eroded by the humans' unexpected successes. Some glanced at the humans with open suspicion, as if questioning whether they could be trusted in a scenario that demanded cooperation. "We're not getting out of here alone," May said quietly. "Not this time." Alex sighed, running a hand through his hair. "Great. Just when I was starting to enjoy proving them wrong." Nia stepped forward, her voice steady. "We don't have a choice. If we want to survive, we have to work together. Let's start by figuring out what needs to be done." Splitting up, the humans moved quickly to analyze the situation. Carter coordinated with a group of reptilian students, their combined strength invaluable for moving heavy components around the chamber. Alex teamed up with an avian student whose keen eyesight allowed them to pinpoint weaknesses in the devices. May focused on keeping the effort organized, mediating disputes as tensions flared among the different species. But it was Nia who took the lead on the most critical task: deactivating the crystal itself. Its chaotic energy pulsed in time with her heartbeat, each surge a reminder of how little time they had left. She worked alongside a lanky, insectoid student who introduced themselves as KRYN. Despite their earlier condescension, KRYN seemed genuinely curious about the humans' methods. "You approach problems differently," KRYN said, their voice a series of clicks translated into smooth tones. "It is unexpected. That's humanity for you," Nia replied with a faint smile. "We're full of surprises." As they worked, the crystal's energy grew more erratic, its glow intensifying until it bathed the room in an otherworldly light. The smaller devices had been deactivated one by one, but the crystal's core remained unstable. Sweat beaded on Nia's forehead as she and KRYN adjusted its controls, their movements precise but increasingly desperate. "Too much power is still feeding into it," KRYN said, their mandibles clicking in frustration. "If we cannot redirect it, we'll find a way," Nia interrupted, her voice firm. "We always do." Across the room, Carter shouted a warning. A section of the floor buckled as a stray energy surge tore through it, sending a reptilian student sprawling. Without hesitation, Carter rushed forward, pulling them to safety even as debris rained down around them. The students stared at him in disbelief, their earlier disdain replaced by an unspoken gratitude. "You good?" Carter asked gruffly, brushing dust off his uniform. The student nodded, their scaled head dipping low. "Thank you," they murmured, the words heavy with unfamiliar humility. Meanwhile, Alex and his avian partner managed to isolate the last energy conduit feeding the crystal. "Got it," Alex yelled, his voice echoing through the chamber. "The main flow is cut, but it's still running off residual power. Whatever you're doing up there, Nia, do it fast." Nia glanced at KRYN, who gave a sharp nod. Together, they executed the final sequence, their fingers flying over the crystal's control panel. The construct shuddered, its light flickering erratically before dimming to a faint glow. For a moment, the room was eerily quiet. Then, with a soft hiss, the crystal released a pulse of energy that swept through the chamber like a gentle breeze. The oppressive tension vanished, replaced by a profound sense of calm. The humans and aliens alike exchanged cautious glances, their relief tempered by exhaustion. A final panel slid open in the chamber wall, revealing a figure draped in shimmering robes. Their features were inscrutable, a blend of light and shadow that defied comprehension. They stepped forward, their presence commanding silence. "You have succeeded," the figure said, their voice resonating like a symphony. "Not because of individual strength, but because you chose unity over division. In doing so, you have demonstrated the greatest strength of all." The humans stood tall as the figure's gaze swept over them, their weariness overshadowed by a quiet pride. Around them, the alien students seemed equally moved, their earlier arrogance tempered by the lessons they had learned. As the figure retreated, the chamber began to dissolve, its walls fading into nothingness. One by one, the students were transported back to the Academy's atrium, where a crowd had gathered to witness their return. The humans stepped forward together, their modest victory emblem glowing brightly in Nia's hand. For the first time, the murmurs that followed them weren't of scorn or doubt, but of respect. Alien students approached cautiously, some offering hesitant congratulations, others simply nodding in acknowledgement. "We did it," Alex said softly, a rare note of wonder in his voice. May smiled. "We didn't just prove ourselves. We changed the way they see us." Carter crossed his arms, his usual stoicism giving way to a satisfied smirk. "Let's hope they don't expect us to do that every time." Nia looked around at her teammates, her heart swelling with pride. They had come to the Academy as outsiders, underestimated and dismissed. But now, they were something more. Together, they had not only passed the test, but also forged a path for humanity's place among the stars. And as the atrium buzzed with renewed energy, she knew this was only the beginning.